The death of Möngke Khan in 1259 did more than just stop the invasion of Egypt. It broke the spine of the Mongol Empire. For the first time, the universal ruler was not chosen by a unified Kurultai, but decided by a bloody civil war between two brothers, Kublai and Ariq Böke. This conflict, known as the Toluid Civil War, forced the Mongol military machine to do the one thing Genghis Khan had warned against. It turned inward. Mongol horsemen who had conquered the world now charged against their own kin on the Mongolian steppe. The war was a clash of ideologies. Ariq Böke represented the traditionalists in Karakoram, fighting to preserve the nomadic, austere way of life dictated by the Yasa. Kublai, however, had spent his life in China and realized that to rule a global empire, the Mongols had to stop being just conquerors and start being administrators. Kublai's victory in 1264 changed the machine forever. He moved the capital from the steppe to Khanbalik, modern-day Beijing, and established the Yuan dynasty. The Mongol Great Khan was now also a Chinese emperor. As Kublai sought to expand his new dynasty, the Mongol machine faced its greatest logistical failures: the invasions of Japan in 1274 and 1281. The Mongol army, masters of the open steppe, were forced into naval combat, a medium they did not understand. They utilized massive fleets built by Korean and Chinese subjects. In both attempts, the Mongol forces were on the verge of victory when catastrophic typhoons, which the Japanese called kamikaze, or divine wind, shattered the fleets. These failures proved that the Mongol machine had a geographic limit. The horse-based logistics that had conquered Eurasia could not overcome the complexities of the sea. By the late 13th century, the unified Mongol Empire was a fiction. It had fragmented into 4 independent sovereign states: the Yuan dynasty in China and Mongolia, the Golden Horde in Russia and the Pontic steppe, the Ilkhanate in Persia and the Middle East, the Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia. While they shared a common ancestry, they often went to war with one another. However, this fragmentation created a unique period of history known as the Pax Mongolica. For a century, the Mongol machine served as the world's police force. It secured the Silk Road so thoroughly that a traveler could supposedly walk from the Black Sea to Beijing with a golden plate on their head and never be robbed. The true legacy of the Mongol machine was not the territory it held, but the ideas it moved. By forcibly integrating the East and West, the Mongols facilitated the greatest technology transfer in human history. Gunpowder, a Chinese curiosity, was weaponized by Mongol engineers and transmitted to Europe. The magnetic compass, block printing, and paper money all traveled along the Mongol Yam network. This mass exchange of knowledge ended the isolation of the Middle Ages and laid the groundwork for the European Renaissance and the Age of Discovery. The same connectivity that moved silk and science also moved the plague. In the mid-14th century, the Black Death traveled along Mongol trade routes. During the siege of Kaffa in 1346, the Golden Horde reportedly catapulted plague-infected corpses over the walls, one of the earliest recorded uses of biological warfare. The pandemic devastated the Mongol population, paralyzed their tax base, and broke the communication lines of the Yam network. One by one, the Khanates began to fall to internal rebellions and rising nationalist movements, like the Ming dynasty in China and the Grand Duchy of Moscow in Russia. The Mongol military machine disappeared as quickly as it had arrived, but the world it left behind was unrecognizable. It had redrawn the borders of modern nations, ended the era of the armored knight, and connected the planet for the first time. The Mongols proved that meritocracy and logistics could overcome any war. We still live in the shadow of their conquest. From the global trade networks we rely on to the very way we organize modern militaries, the DNA of Genghis Khan's machine remains embedded in the structure of our world.